All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling a huge topic, maybe the single biggest risk to Bitcoin out there, the quantum computing problem.
For years, we've all just assumed Bitcoin's security is rock solid, right? I mean, it's considered practically unbreakable. But what if I told you there's a new kind of computer coming, one that completely changes the rules of the game? This thing threatens the very foundation of the entire network. Okay, so let's get into it. To really grasp the danger here, we've got to first understand what makes Bitcoin so secure to begin with. How does this so-called unbreakable lock actually work?
So, at its core, Bitcoin's security really boils down to one simple, elegant idea. Some math problems are just super easy to do one way, but basically impossible to undo. It's what we call a one-way function. Imagine you're making a smoothie. It's easy, right? You toss in some fruit, some yogurt, blend it up, done. But now, try to unblend it. Try to turn that smoothie back into the perfect, separate pieces of fruit you started with. Good luck with that. That's the principle protecting every single Bitcoin on the network.
So this magic one-way door, it actually has a name. It's called the elliptic curve discrete logarithm problem. I know. That sounds super intimidating. But the core idea is actually pretty straightforward. Let's dig in.
Okay, so here's the gist. It all starts with your private key, which is really just a huge, randomly generated secret number. You take that secret number, you run it through a special kind of math, and boom, out pops a public key. That public key is something you can share with the whole world. But, and here's the magic, trying to go backward, trying to take that public key and figure out your secret number, well, that's the part that's supposed to be impossible for any computer we have today. And this quote from Nick Carter just nails it, doesn't it? Unwinding it is like turning a cake back into its ingredients. It's perfect because the process is totally predictable. The same private key will always create the same public key. But if I just give you the public key, the finished cake, you have absolutely no clue what the original ingredients or the private key were. The scrambling is just that effective. And here's the really brilliant part. Creating this lock is incredibly fast. You don't need like trillions of calculations. There's this super efficient algorithm called double and add that gives you a massive shortcut. It can generate your public key in just a few hundred steps. But, and this is the absolute key to everything, there is no known shortcut to go backward. The door locks in an instant, but there's no way to pick it from the outside. Okay, so we've established this lock is incredible, right? It's been the bedrock of Bitcoin's security for over a decade. But the game is changing. A completely new kind of key is being made, a quantum skeleton key.
Yeah, and let's be super clear about this. A quantum computer is not just a souped-up version of your laptop. It is a fundamentally different kind of machine. See, your computer uses bits. They're either a 0 or a 1. Simple. But a quantum computer uses something called a qubit, and a qubit can be a 0, a 1, or both at the same time. It sounds like science fiction, but it means they can explore a mind-boggling number of possibilities all at once. They can tackle problems in a way that our normal computers just can't.
And this is what that means in practice. There's an algorithm called Shor's algorithm. It was actually designed way back in 1994, long before Bitcoin even existed. And it just so happens to be the perfect skeleton key for Bitcoin's lock. With a normal computer, trying to guess a private key would literally take billions of years. It's impossible. But a quantum computer running Shor's algorithm, it could crack it in a matter of hours, maybe even less. An impossible problem suddenly becomes possible.
All right, so I know this might sound like some distant sci-fi threat, but it's not. This problem has very real, very tangible consequences for a staggering amount of Bitcoin that's out there right now. Just look at that number. That's how much Bitcoin is currently sitting in addresses where the public key has already been revealed. Every single one of those coins is vulnerable. The second a powerful enough quantum computer exists, that money is at risk.
Yeah, let that sink in for a second. We're talking about roughly 1/3 of all the Bitcoin in existence. And the reason they're vulnerable is because of how some older transactions worked. They basically left the public key exposed on the blockchain, just sitting there in plain sight for anyone or any quantum computer to find and attack.
And this isn't just some old legacy problem either. It cuts across every single era of Bitcoin. We're talking about the oldest coins, the ones people think belong to Satoshi himself. We're talking about millions of coins from people who just reused the same address over and over. And it even hits huge modern targets, like the massive cold wallets used by big exchanges like Binance. No one is totally immune.
So you might be asking, okay, I get it, but why is this such a big deal right now? Well, it's because this isn't science fiction anymore. The The race to build one of these machines is a full-on sprint, and the finish line is getting closer, faster than a lot of people think.
I mean, just look at what the big players are doing. Governments, major standards bodies like NIST, they are all operating under the assumption that our current cryptography is going to be useless within a decade. They're already setting hard deadlines, 2030, 2035, to switch everything over to quantum-resistant standards. This is not a drill, folks. They see it coming.
And it's not just government agencies either. Follow the money. Private venture capital is pouring into this space. I mean, investment in quantum startups is just exploding, more than doubling in the past year alone. This tells you it's moved way beyond the university lab. This is a high-stakes, heavily funded race to build this technology.
So, the big question, how close are we really? Well, the companies actually building these things, they're predicting they'll have a machine with around 2,000 logical qubits. That's basically the stable, error-corrected processing power you need to break Bitcoin's encryption sometime between 2028 and 2033. You can see it on the chart. Progress is exponential. We are just starting to hit that hockey stick part of the curve.
And listen to this quote from Scott Aronson. This guy is one of the most respected quantum scientists out there, and for years he was one of the biggest skeptics about these short timelines. Now, he's saying the race is actually underway. When a guy who is famous for telling everyone to calm down says it's time to start running, you know something has fundamentally changed. The breakthroughs are happening right now. So let's bring it all together. The threat is real, the timeline is getting shorter by the day, and there are literally hundreds of billions of dollars on the line. What can we actually do to prepare for Q-Day? Look, the long-term fix here is going to have to be a major upgrade to the Bitcoin protocol itself, and trust me, that's a whole complex debate that's already started. But for you as an individual, there are things you can do right now to protect yourself. The single biggest thing is good wallet hygiene. It's simple. Do not reuse addresses. Every time you send Bitcoin, make sure any leftover change goes to a brand new address you've never used before. That one simple habit keeps your public key from ever being exposed, and it massively reduces your personal risk. So here's the bottom line. This whole quantum computer thing, it's not just another technical hurdle for Bitcoin. It's a genuine existential threat that cuts right to the core of its security. It's kicked off this incredible high-stakes race between the people building our quantum future and the people trying to protect our digital present. The big question really isn't if Bitcoin will have to evolve to survive this, it's when. And will it be ready before that quantum skeleton key finally turns the lock?